This is a map and family tree of European monarchs from 1475 to 1800, with a couple of exceptions. Our story today starts in the Holy Roman Empire, which we are going to place over the top of present-day Germany. Notice I'm using a modern map, and not a time-specific map, because European lines change so ridiculously much during this period. The Holy Roman Empire was supposed to be the remnant of the original Roman Empire, but by 1756 Voltaire said that it was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. But in the early 1500s it was pretty important. Charles V was in charge. Notably, he helped to repel the Muslim invasion of Europe just outside Vienna with the help of his brother Ferdinand I. Charles and Ferdinand were both Habsburgs. This name is significant. Ferdinand's sixth great-granddaughter was Maria Theresa, who fought for her right to rule in the globalized War of Austrian Succession of 1740 against Prussia. Meanwhile, over in England, Charles also had an aunt. His aunt was Catherine of Aragon, who was famously married to Henry VIII. Henry and Catherine had a daughter named Mary Tudor, who killed Protestants. Charles V had a son in Spain, Philip II. Philip is the grandson of the famed Ferdinand and Isabella, who sent Columbus, Muslims, and Jews all from Spain. Philip was also married to Mary Tudor. Whose mother is Catherine, whose nephew is Charles V, whose son is Philip, making Mary Philip's first cousin once removed. Philip was also a Habsburg. Their empire included Spain, the Netherlands until 1579, and the Holy Roman Empire, and Austria, and all of their colonies in the Americas at the time. It was huge. It seemed unstoppable until the Spanish attempted to conquer England by attacking Elizabeth I in England, who was Mary Tudor's half-sister. Elizabeth never had an heir, so her cousin's son, James I, takes over. He commissions the writing of his own Bible. His son, Charles I, loses his head in the English Civil War, allowing Oliver Cromwell to take over the Commonwealth before he loses his head. Then Charles I's son, Charles II, restores the crown. Charles' brother, James II, is a Catholic, so he is deposed in favor of his Protestant daughter, Mary, who is married to William of Orange, with a J, from the Netherlands, in a glorious revolution, and they agree to a Bill of Rights as part of the deal. In Italy, Alexander VI was a Borgia and a pope when Columbus set sail. He was followed by Julius II, who had the Sistine Chapel painted by Michelangelo. Then Leo X became pope. He was a Medici. Medici. Coincidentally, he was the great-uncle of Catherine de' Medici, who married Henry II of the House of Valois in France. He also killed Protestants. Henry IV eventually takes over after marrying Henry and Catherine's daughter, thus starting the House of Bourbon. Henry's grandson, Louis XIV, the Sun King, builds the Palace of Versailles and drains the treasury. 2 years before Louis XIV dies, Frederick William takes over in Prussia, doing much to unite this fractured region. His is the House of Hohenzollern, also known as the Second Reich. His son is the enlightened despot Frederick the Great, who liked to fight wars, Austrian Succession and the 7 Years' War. The Hohenzollern reign will last through German unification until 1918. Back in the Vatican, Pope Clement VII is also a Medici, and Pius V excommunicates Elizabeth I of England, opening the door for invasion. Leo XI is another Medici, and Urban VIII presides over Galileo's trial in 1633. And Pius V condemns the French Revolution. During the French Revolution, Louis XIV's great-grandson, Louis XVI, loses his head. Louis was married. He was married to Marie Antoinette, who was the daughter of Austrian Queen, you guessed it, Maria Theresa. The Russians were growing their monarchy during this period as well. Ivan III kicked out the Mongols and laid the foundation of the Russian state. His grandson Ivan the Terrible marries Anastasia Romanov, whose line through her nephew Michael, with such notables as Peter the Great, who wanted to make Europe Russia more European, and Catherine the Great, who corresponded with Frederick the Great, will dominate the Russian Empire until 1918. So as you can see, there is much interconnectedness among the European monarchs. Even though we consider it a disunified region, it really is a family affair. The Protestants and Muslims were considerable problems for these monarchs that they had to deal with, and deal poorly they did, killing many. As you heard, several of these monarchies lasted until World War I. That war changes the face of Europe and the world, even until today.